Hello, everybody. My name is Bonita. I'm the curator, and I want to welcome you to the Avalon History Center's first ever virtual online exhibit opening. While you waited for us, I hope you enjoyed some music from Avalon's Bongo Room and Jack's Place favorites, the fabulous Grease Band. When we first started planning this last call at 36 and Ocean Drive exhibit, the opening had a very different look. I didn't even imagine my wildest dreams that we'd been able to reach out so far afield to share the History Center's latest trip down memory lane. Yet, here we are a year later, and I'm really excited to be able to reach you all, near and far. As always, none of this would have been possible without the cooperation and teamwork from my colleagues, Bill Mengel, History Center interpreter. Say hello, Bill.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. We got a great crowd out there.
Thank you, Bill. John Gibson, History Center Digital Collections Coordinator and Technology Guru. Evening, John. And of course, Erin Brown, the History Center and Library Director, who never says never, not even when I suggested building a bar in the museum. So thank you, Erin. The content for the exhibit has remained very much the same throughout the planning stages. Most of the items and the photographs were already in the History Center's collection, kindly donated over the years. But that doesn't mean to say we couldn't use any more. So if any of you can root around and find some more photographs, some more memorabilia that you'd love to donate to us, we'd be so happy for that. Thank you. Then, of course, we have the bar behind, the bar behind us, which was generously donated by Linda and Bob Miller of Woodbury, New Jersey. With that, I think I've managed to create a little bit of the bar atmosphere that reflects all three of Avalon's best loved drinking establishments at the corner of 36th and Ocean. Hopefully, this will bring back some wonderful memories of time spent with friends and family, leaning on the bar at the Black Eagle or Dirty Bird, enjoying the Gallagher sisters' famous soup and sandwiches at Gallagher's pub, and dancing the night away at Jack's Place. Those of you at home, feel free to raise a glass and toast the Black Eagle, Dirty Bird, Gallagher's pub, and Jack's Place. Gone but not forgotten. Please stay with us now for a little bit of history from Bill Mengel. We'll follow that with some surprise guests, and then we'll end with some questions from you, if you have any. They can be posted on Facebook, or you can fill in the chat thing at the bottom of the Zoom here. Jonathan's monitoring both, and we'll do our best to answer your questions for you. A little plug, the History Center is open 6 days a week, so we look forward to seeing you when you can visit to check out this exhibit and all of the others. Right now, it's over to Bill.
Thank you, Bonita. And again, welcome to everyone. And if I can, I don't think it's too late to say Happy New Year to you. And looking forward to talking to you a little bit about, I've been given the task of talking of 90 years of history within less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to get started. It's 1933. Prohibition has been repealed. Everybody's jumping happy. We can now start drinking and consuming again. Mary and Joe Ferrigno decide that at 3601, they're going to open an establishment. And they're going to call that establishment the Black Eagle Cafe. Now, how did it get its name? Supposedly, the mayor at the time of 1925 to 1937, who was Gustav Bergner, it was named in his honor. Now, there's also reference to that he could have been a part owner of the Black Eagle Cafe too. That I cannot verify. But in any event, Mary and Joe Ferrigno opened this bar. Mary bought her license for $183. And as I said, now you can consume or distribute beer. Gustav Bergner was, just a little bit of history about him as the mayor. He owned a brewing company in Philadelphia and the brewing company was Bergner and Engel Company. So their trademark was the Black Eagle. They also supposedly had, they brewed a Black Eagle beer. Now, the photograph you're looking at now is inside the Black Eagle. And just to make a note, for all of you that know Sue Keene, the gentleman in the white captain's hat there at the bar is none other than Harry Rhodes, Sue Keene's grandfather. Now, somebody may know out there may know who the bartender was standing there also. So anyway, they would have ownership of the Black Eagle Cafe for a number of years. It was also referred to as the Dirty Bird. Now, it had nothing to do with, even though many people may think it had to do with the housekeeping of the bar and the condition of the bar. What it was, let me just say this. The Black Eagle Cafe was an unofficial annex of City Hall. Now, when I say that, what I mean is you'd have building inspectors writing up permits using the bar as a desk. So there were things that went on in the Black Eagle Cafe that maybe were a little unsavory. So anyway, it adopted that name and carried that name for many, many years. Now, in the 40s and the 50s, we had a Mayor Edith Greene. Edith was very controversial. And what she would do, she would hold these, what they call election suppers in the Black Eagle. And what it was is she would invite people down from Philadelphia for a supper at the Black Eagle, no cost to them, and the payment would be a vote for Edith. So this eventually would end up leading to her downfall as far as politics goes, and so this is what it was in the 40s and the 50s, and there was a number of owners that had it, a couple owners that had it between then. But then in the 60s, Marie Gallagher would take over ownership of the Black Eagle and change the name to Gallagher's Pub. Now, Marie Gallagher used to come back down to see her parents, the Meanies, John Meany and Ella Meany, in Avalon, to visit with them. Both her and her husband, Bernie, owned a bar up in Philadelphia. She was from Frankfurt, Philadelphia, and they had a bar in the Oxford Circle. So this was back in 1936. They decided to come down and open up a liquor store in Avalon, which will eventually become Avalon Liquors. And Marie would run the pub for a number of years. Now, sadly, about 12 years after they'd come down, Bernie would pass away. But she ran it by herself, and it was very successful thanks to her three sisters. Her three sisters would make soups and sandwiches, excellent food, and they would, this is what kept Marie going. Now, Marie had a nephew, Jack Urquhart, who was actually managing Gallagher's Pub. And as we got closer to the 70s, and in the early 70s, Jack Urquhart approached Marie, his aunt, and was interested in owning the Gallagher's Pub. So she decided to sell it to Jack, and like overnight, Jack changed the name to Jack's Place. So this is what I remember, because I've been coming to Avalon for 50 years. I used to rent a house with buddies of mine on 32nd Street. And so it was just a short walk to Jack's. And we were there, I mean, every weekend that I could come down in the summer. And it was a great place, playing shuffleboard, spending the Saturday afternoon in there. And it was just a great place to be. And their food, everything was great. I was just looking at one of their menus, and this is back in the 70s, And I always remember their bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches for whatever. They were excellent. They were great. $1. You could buy a hamburger for 85 cents. And if you wanted cheese on it, it was another 10 cents. So it was a great place. And, you know, Vince LaManna was in here the other day in the History Center, and I was talking to him about Jack. And what I remember about Jack was he was very personable. He really, you could see he was putting himself in that place. He wanted everybody to be happy. He really loved his customers, and you could feel it with Jack. You could feel it in that place. It was just a great place to be. So Jack and his wife, Joanne, would run the place, and they would have it for, you know, quite a few years up into the 90s. Now, what Jack did, actually, it's been said that he might have been the first sports bar. He had the Flyers, the Stanley Cup winners Flyers come down, and Jack started his own softball team, and they would play the Flyers for a charity and for the Helen Diller School for the Blind. They would bring up thousands of dollars to help the school, the Helen Diller School for the Blind. So Jack was into that, a lot of sports and whatever, and he would, bring down, and after that it was the Phillies, and then the Eagles, and then but after, I guess it was to get close to the late 80s, and Jack decided, well, not the late 80s, in 1984, Jack decided to maybe turn it into like a fine restaurant, so what he did was the Meany's name, which is a family name, he decided to turn it into Meany's Restaurant, a fine dining restaurant. That didn't work, not too much at all, maybe a year, and that was it. Jack realized that his customers, he wanted his customer back, and they wanted back to Jack's Place. So that's what he did. He closed up Meany's and brought it back to Jack's Place. Now, they would own this and for up until the late 80s and the early 90s, and then realized that the crowd was changing, the attitude was changing in Avalon. And so they figured, him and his wife figured, it's time to sell it. So they sold it to the Volam family, and they would end up owning it until its demise, which was in 2019 when they decided to do it. But during that time, when they would hold many sports events also, they had which was very successful, the 76ers would come down for the weekend for what they would call the bash, and that was with a lot of help from Dave Koski, who was then the executive vice president of the 76ers. So he had a lot to do with that. So they were always doing something to bring for charities and local charities. So it was a great place. I have nothing but fond memories of the place, and just had a great time there. So that's just a brief little bit history of Jack's Place. Bing.
Thank you so much, Bill. Appreciate it. Who started crying at that last slide? It's pretty sad, right? But we're keeping the memory alive, I promise you. Right now, I want to introduce our special guests, if they will put their video on, please. Terry and Joe Breslin. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Benita. Very well, thank you.
These are our very special guests. Many of you already know Terry and Joe. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. You're both longtime Avalon residents.
Yeah, and now, Benita, Bill Mengel took us back into the 70s. We're going to take you back into the 60s.
Oh,
so we're going to add in a few more years onto this, because on June the 20th in 1969,
right.
I saw a young lady walk past me, a cute little Italian girl, and and then all of a sudden I got a whiff of her perfume. I said, "Oh, excuse me," and I called after her. I said, "Is that Shalimar or is it Emerald?" And she looked at me, and I can imagine what she was thinking. And she said, "It's Shalimar." And I said, "Oh, that's my favorite perfume." 50 years now, this coming August, we will have been married. So Jack's Place holds a special memory for us. We met there, we danced there, we drank there, and we waited there while our clothes were being washed at the laundromat across the street when we were first married.
I had a girlfriend who was in my house at the shore. I first came in 1969 as a shoebie, and she was a waitress. She was a teacher in Pennsylvania, as I was, and she was a waitress at Jack's. And that's why my two girlfriends and I went that night that I met Joe. We were all teachers. He and his friend with whom he taught were teachers of English and history, the five of us. And we ended up talking after he asked me about my perfume. It was the place to go. It was a Friday night, and Saturday night, I think it was the Bongo Room, but Friday night was definitely Gallagher's Pub night. And the music was great, and it was just a happening place. It was fun. It was lively, good music, and nice people frequented the place.
Right, the people in there were nice, and the help that they had. The waitresses, the bartenders,
Yes.
Billy Jensen and them, they were all good people. We had a lot of fun in there. We did a lot of dancing and some imbibing. We did that too, some.
I mean, it was a bar, after all.
Anyhow.
Joe, did they have live bands in there when it was Gallagher's?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
they did. Absolutely.
They had good live bands too.
Yes, they were good.
They were ones that everybody wanted to dance to, and the dance floor was packed. The whole place was packed. It had a subdued lighting to it, but you could see and you could have fun and pick out different people to whom you wanted to speak.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun place. It really was.
It seems like so many people met their future wives and future husbands in
Yes.
Gallagher's or
There are
Jack's.
people in Avalon, I know, and there are some of our friends in Pennsylvania who also spouses met at Jack's Place.
Yeah.
I call it Jack's.
Gallagher's Pub.
It was Gallagher's Pub
They had
then.
all those names. I remember when it was the Black Eagle also, but I was not of age at that point, so I could go in and get my bus ticket to drive to ride up to Philly in there. They sold a bus ticket in there. Then they moved the bus ticket place down to the One-Eyed Jack, and then they moved it down to I think it was the barber shop. Where if not the barber shop, you could get it at 21st and 3rd Avenue. So there were a lot of things going on at that time. As a matter of fact, I think we had more people living down here than year round than we do now.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Do you remember when it changed over to Meanies? Do you remember that at all?
No, I don't. As
Such a
I
short
was
time.
thinking back, after we met and, after 2 years later, we were married. We were then building a house, having a family, and, our whole life thing changed. And we did not go. I did go back in the 90s, late 90s, when our son worked there and when it was Jack's Place. And we went in there. He was there 3 summers while he was in college, but I think we only went once. I mean, they were kids and we were,
we were getting old.
we were parents of 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds. So it didn't go. He said it was fun. I mean, he worked
enjoyed
there.
it. He enjoyed working
He
there.
enjoyed it. He enjoyed working with the people and everything.
He made a lot of
So,
friends.
Yep.
And he still stays in touch with quite a few of them too. So
Yeah.
a lot of bonding was taking place in there, and it still is. As Terry said, a lot of people met there who married, like Dave and Donna Tinney, met there one Friday night, and David had to look for her for the next couple of months. And he finally saw her again and talked with her, and boom, now they're married.
And
40
Lottie
years.
Lottie and John. met
Lottie,
there.
right?
Yeah. So, yeah, we know a few. In fact, a while back, there was a thing on Facebook on the History Center page, and there were a lot of comments of people who said that they met at Jack's Place. I don't remember. I don't know all the names, obviously, but there are people I know.
Yeah, we
So it was
get
a
all
fun. It
all
was
the
fun.
people who did meet there to write up their story from beginning to end, how they met. And, like I ended up being her mailman too, because I was a mail carrier during the summer. So I would take my coffee break at her apartment. And when I asked her that first night, where are you living? She said, behind the ice cream parlor. I said, oh, 2659A or what? She said, 2659A. How do you know that? I said, well, I'm a mailman. So, these things, these memories are just beautiful. They're wonderful.
Yes.
But we ought to get all the people to write those stories and send them into the Avalon History Center. And
Definitely.
maybe a book could be made up of I Met My Love in Avalon.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all for that. Or even just come in, sit at the bar and tell us your memories, who you met.
Right.
It would be wonderful. We can't serve alcohol, unfortunately, but it's a nice little atmosphere. And we'd love to hear everybody's stories. We really would, because we really enjoy hearing your story, Terry
Thank you.
and Jerry. Thank you so
Anita.
much for that.
Thank you.
When you heard it was being demolished, what did you think? Did you think anything at all? Probably not.
A little bit of nostalgia, but not too much, because we now realize things change. Things change. The town has changed. We used to have one-story homes when I first started coming down here in the 50s. Now they're 3 stories, and people complain about that. The other people are complaining that, well, I'm allowed to do what I want. So it's life. Life changes. People change.
Absolutely.
That's life.
Yes.
Are there any places now today, though, that compare to either Gallagher's or Jack's? What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't know personally, but
I'm not trying to catch you out.
We live five blocks from the Princeton on a corner. And I know there are a lot of people who are walking to the Princeton or back from the Princeton on the weekends in the summer, and during the week, sometimes in the summer too. So I guess I'm trying to think of other places that are
Windrift.
like that. Windrift.
When I was a patrolman in Stone Harbor, I used to have to take the bar break at 2:00 in the morning. And the crowd that came out of there.
Yeah, but that was a while ago too. We don't know if that's now.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know, because we're past it.
Stop! You're never.
we're still alive.
We're alive, but we're past going in. I don't know.
I took the girl, Terry asked me once if I would take Nancy, the girlfriend of hers, who worked at Gallagher's that night, if I would take her down, give her a ride down to the Windrift and drop her off so she can meet her friends down there. And I said, sure, I'll take her down. I didn't want to, but
It was in the
I did.
90s, I
It
think.
was in the 90s. And I ended up staying there until the bar closed. And I was supposed to just drop her off and come home. So
That's the
met-
last time, right?
Mea culpa.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Oh.
there are some places, but there were over the time in the Princeton, we used to have Leroy Bostic, and our parents would go there with their friends. Then when we went through, we would go through the Whitebriar on Sunday afternoons, Jack's Place on Friday nights. Everybody.
I don't think there are as many drinking establishments as there were when
Right.
we were
Yeah,
courting.
yeah. Rocking chair. Well,
Yeah.
well, anyhow, I
Yeah.
can't name them all.
Yeah. So things
Oh,
change.
Yeah. But you got your memories. Thank you so
Yes.
much for sharing
Yeah.
your extremely special memory with us.
You're
It's
certainly,
really
we're very
wonderful.
welcome.
We've got how do you feel about answering some questions?
If we have any that are directed to us, sure, if I can.
Yeah, we had one earlier. Do you remember what drinks the two of you had on that night that you met in Jack's?
You probably had a beer.
I was drinking beer. Yes,
Okay.
I was drinking beer.
I know I wasn't drinking wine. I have
Fuck again, let's.
probably, no, I don't think it was anything like that. Might have been, what was the other thing? That was a vodka and bitter lemon,
Right,
maybe.
vodka and
Vodka and bitter lemon, maybe,
Ooh, sounds
Maybe.
nice.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
Yeah.
Quite a memory. What about the shuffleboard court? We've had a lot of interest in the old shuffleboard court.
Well, there were two shuffleboards that I remember in this town. One of them was at the Princeton, the Little P, and the other one was at Gallagher's Pub. And those on Wednesday nights in town, they would have shuffleboard leagues going on, and they were packed. The Little P, I remember when I was bartending there, Wednesday night shuffleboard league was in session, and boy, those people loved it. They had a good time and they were interesting, and it made the night go fast for me as a bartender. So the other one at Gallagher's Pub, I think that's the one now that is up in the firehouse. So
Oh, really? Oh,
yes, one of
I
those
didn't
two
even know they
shuffleboard.
had one up there.
Mhm,
Huh,
mhm.
it's interesting.
Yeah, they- yeah.
Oh. John, have we had any questions come in?
Yes, we got quite a few.
Uh-oh.
Let's see here. Does anyone remember the DJ in the late 60s or 70s, Bob Mitchell?
No, I don't remember
No,
him by name.
I don't.
No. Mm-mm.
Was he
Sounds like
there?
a research topic.
Yes.
What were some of the best live music acts you guys enjoyed?
Definitely
Gallagher's.
the Grease Band.
Grease band.
Grease Band was, I mean, they were tops. And they were the ones that I will always remember because they sounded like the originals. You know, if it was Benny King, Stand By Me, if it was Creedence Clearwater Revival, whatever it was, they played it and they were it. So that was the Grease Band was the big
They were
thing.
good. Yeah.
Then
I
when they-
remember them from the bongo room too.
Right.
Huh.
But other bands, I'm sorry, I don't recall. Remember now, we're going back 50 years, so I
Yeah.
don't recall their names.
Let's see.
Isn't
Does anyone keep in touch with Jack? I think you've been in touch a little bit, Anita, haven't you?
I personally have not, but I know that Dave
Maybe
Koski
Bill.
is in touch with Jack, and Carol McFeet, who was a waitress at
You
Jack.
worked there,
She's,
right?
She worked there.
yeah, she's been in touch with him also. Hopefully, who knows, Jack and Joanne, maybe you're watching now. It would be lovely to think.
Yeah.
They live
That-
down in Florida,
They're in
so,
Florida, I believe.
Right.
And it would be great to see them.
yeah, they could zoom in, boom.
I know, it would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's see. What was the style of outfit that you would sport at Gallagher's back in the day?
I used to like to wear bell-bottom jeans, soft
Bottom
jeans.
jeans, that's right.
Yeah, bell-bottom
Jeans.
jeans, sandals, open-toed
Mhm.
sandals. And
You would wear a
usually I'd
t-shirt.
wear a t-shirt, like
Yeah.
the Avalon Fire Department or
He still
You know, one of
wears
those
them.
places.
He
One of
still wears
those.
We'll
them.
come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Just jeans and a shirt, like a
you were wearing a
t-shirt.
dress the first night. 'Cause
No, I
remember-
don't think
Yeah,
so.
you were.
No.
I'm positive.
I don't think so, but who could tell? I mean, it's his word against mine. I don't think so. But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun place to go.
You would
and
wear
I was-
bell-bottoms too.
I wore
Yeah,
bell
blue-
bottoms.
Blue bell-bottoms.
Yeah, bell bottoms.
Blue, very
Yeah.
specific. Good memory, Joe.
Yeah, sometimes. The Prevagen must be working.
Yeah.
What else do you have for us, John? Anything
Oh,
else good?
Let's see here. A lot of great memories being shared. Let's see if there's a question. Let's see.
I love it when people share their
Well-
memories, though. I'm gonna be taking
Yeah,
notes
they're-
of them all.
Yeah,
Right, you gotta run through them sometime.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Get them
yeah,
posted.
absolutely.
But in the meantime, while John's looking for some other questions, the Grease Band used to play up at the bongo room, and then they also they had the bar down in the catacombs at the Avalon Hotel. At the Princeton, Leroy Bostic was playing there. And then Doug Knight started playing the piano into Little P, where I bartended.
Oh, yeah, he was good. Right.
Who, me or?
Yeah, no,
Doug.
Douglas. Right.
Oh. Anyhow, rocking chair. They had usually like a guitarist, somebody softer. That was it.
Mhm.
Those were the places, and they were the clubs, but those clubs were.
John might have a question.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite bartender? Someone wants to know.
Apart from your son.
Yeah, my son, but I don't think he bartended. I think he was a
Uh,
bar back, but I don't know. I only went once.
What, when Joey was there?
Joe,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't have any favorite bartender when I was there. I knew a few of them from around town, but I didn't have a favorite one. They were all good.
Yeah, they
And
had nice
besides,
people
all I had to
working
do
there.
was pour me a beer, so I was an easy customer.
They had nice
Right.
people working there, people at the door. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was-
that helps to draw the crowd
Yeah.
back week after week too.
Yeah.
The band and the people, the
yeah, people
clientele
working.
came back because of the bartenders,
Yeah.
waitresses. You know,
Right.
and the music.
It
Mhm.
all adds to the atmosphere, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Well,
Right.
I don't know who John's talking to, but maybe we have no more questions, but just a lot of comments, which I'm going to take note of.
Yep. So,
Is that right, John?
yep. Though Mary Beth wants Terry to know that yes, he bartended too.
Oh, Joey did? Okay. My daughter told me that my son did bartend. Okay, so.
Oh, okay.
good. Thank you, Mary Beth.
Hello, Mary Beth. I'm glad you could join us. Well,
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us
Anita,
to
this was-
Joe and
participate.
Terry, thank you.
It was
You're
fun.
It was fun
wonderful.
doing this.
Thank you,
Yeah, it was
Bonita.
fun
Thank
doing
you,
it.
John and Bill. Yeah,
Thank
It
you for
really
sharing
was.
your memories with us.
Oh, you're
Thanks for
very
your
welcome.
time.
you're
We will see
welcome.
you
Thank you.
later. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
I'm going to leave, have us leave, okay?
Well, everybody else, that was it. Our first ever virtual exhibit opening. What do you think? Of course, it can't take the place of coming in person. So we do hope that you will do that too. This was just by means of a little teaser. We hope we entertained you a bit, jogged some good memories along the way. We use whatever we have in our collection, plus tap into some of your best memories. But of course, everybody has different recollections and everybody had different experiences. I know we've not been able to reflect anything like all of them. So do come in or call, anything. Just come and share your experiences and your memories with us. We'd love to hear your stories. We'd love to hear your opinions about the exhibit. So come in and have a look at that. There's more than just, oh gosh, I can't get this right. More than just what's behind us here. Come and check it out in person. We encourage you to come in, have a look, see our other exhibits we have going on at the moment. For those of you who don't know, the History Centre is at 215 39th Street in Avalon, just opposite the tennis courts. We're open Monday to Friday from 10 to 4 and Saturday from 10 to 1. So put your best masks on, come in and socially distance and come and see what we have to show you. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I hope you had a good time. Let us know what you think. I'd like to say it's going to be the last virtual exhibit opening, but we don't know that. So there could be more. And of course, we'll improve as time goes on. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, John. Thank you again to Erin. Thank you so much to Terry and Joe. And thank you all for joining us, and keep writing in as well with your questions and comments. We will address them. We'll get back onto it tomorrow. Okay.
And if I can just throw one thing in, if you have any friends that missed the event and are wondering how to view it, we will be posting a recording on YouTube and Facebook sometime tomorrow, hopefully.
And John, what about the virtual?
Yes, and if you are unable to visit us in person and see the exhibit for yourself, we do have a mini virtual exhibit with a couple of photos and artifacts, as well as a 360 view of the exhibit on the History Center's page of the library's website. You can find it easily through the library's website, or also I've posted a link on our Facebook. It'll be the first post that you see if you go there.
Okay, thank you, John.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you to everybody for joining us, and hopefully we'll be seeing you. Okay, I'm going to do what everybody says you shouldn't do on Zoom. I'm going to wave, so thank you, everybody.